Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. Today, we're diving deep into what I think is the biggest story in technology right now, the great AI buildout. And what's so fascinating is that it's creating this tale of two completely different tech economies happening at the exact same time.
This quote from Ayako Yoshioka really just nails it. Just when you think, okay, surely this AI investment craze has to be peaking, you realize, oh no, we are just getting started. We're not even close to the peak. This is literally the foundation being poured, brick by expensive brick.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down today. We'll kick things off with the sheer scale of this AI boom. Then we're going to zoom right into one massive deal that really tells the whole story. From there, we'll look at how it's shaking up the cloud wars, creating those two tech economies I mentioned, and forcing the whole landscape to shift, before we land on the one key takeaway you'll want to remember. All right, let's start with this never-ending AI boom. And look, I'm calling it an arms race for a reason, because that's exactly what it is. It's a flat-out global scramble for pure, raw computing power. You know, the biggest story in tech right now isn't some flashy new phone or gadget. Nope. It's this frantic, almost invisible build-out happening behind the scenes. For months, it's been one massive announcement after another, and believe it or not, the pace is actually picking up. The demand for AI infrastructure is just insatiable. Okay, so to really get our heads around what's happening, let's just zoom in on a single deal that basically tells the entire story, and that's the potential partnership between Google and Anthropic. At the center of this, you have two key players. On one side, you've got Google, one of the three huge cloud providers, and on the other, you have Anthropic, a top-tier AI lab that's building these incredibly powerful models, rivals to OpenAI's. And they are talking about a deal that is just huge. And when I say huge, I'm not kidding. The potential value they're talking about could be in the high tens of billions of dollars. This is not just a simple contract. It's a strategic alliance on a monumental scale.
So what is Anthropic actually trying to buy here? Well, it's not just generic computing time. They are specifically going after Google's TPUs, that's Tensor Processing Units. These are custom chips that Google designed in-house for one purpose and one purpose only: making AI run faster.
Now, to really get why this is such a big deal, you have to think about the chips that have powered this whole AI revolution so far. Those are GPUs, graphics processing units, mostly from NVIDIA, right? They're super powerful and they can do a lot of things, but TPUs, they're different. They are hyper-specialized. They're built to do one thing, the exact kind of math AI needs, incredibly well, and that gives Google this massive in-house advantage. For a company like Anthropic, it is a multi-billion-dollar bet on that specialized horsepower.
And get this shows it's not just about Google. Anthropic already has a massive deal with Amazon. Their execs are literally flying around the world, especially the Middle East, trying to lock down two things: more money and more computing capacity. This is the reality for every single major AI lab. They are all desperate for more power. They just cannot get enough of it fast enough.
So this desperate global search for power, well, it creates some huge ripple effects. How does a deal like this one completely shake up the entire cloud computing market?
See, for years, the cloud market has had a really clear pecking order. You've had Amazon's AWS way out in front, Microsoft Azure as a really strong number 2, and then Google Cloud kind of lagging behind in a distant third place. That's just been the way it is.
But this AI arms race, it could change the entire game. So the question becomes, could this be Google's big moment? Can they use their specialized TPUs to win over the AI labs, who are going to be the most important customers of the next decade, and finally close that gap with the leaders?
And this brings us right to the heart of our story today, this tale of two tech economies. Because what's happening right now is this massive disconnect between the absolute boom in AI and, well, pretty much everything else.
So on one side, you have these just staggering investments. Take Meta. They just put together a financing package for nearly $30 billion for a single data center site. $30 billion! That's enough power for a large American city. And then you get the other side of the story. You get a financial forecast from a company like Texas Instruments that paints a picture of an anemic return to growth. So while AI spending is just rocketing to the moon, the rest of the tech hardware world is dealing with a slow, shaky recovery. So why is Texas Instruments so important here? Well, they make what are called analog chips. These aren't the super fancy AI chips. These are the workhorse chips that go into absolutely everything: cars, factory equipment, even your washing machine. And that's why the company is seen as this bellwether for the whole global economy.
And right now, that bellwether is signaling some pretty sluggish growth ahead. This split, this tale of two economies, is forcing every single major tech company to rethink everything. They're reorienting their entire strategy around AI.
I mean, the proof is everywhere you look. OpenAI is launching its own browser to take on Google. Meta is cutting jobs in one area just to pour those resources into its AI division. New hardware from Samsung and Google. AI is at the very core. And maybe the most telling sign of all, Apple is reportedly delaying big innovative projects like a foldable iPad. Why? Because every spare dollar and every available engineer is being pointed directly at the AI race.
And if you want to know if this trend is going to continue, there's really only one number you need to watch. CapEx, or capital expenditure. This is the money that the big cloud providers, the hyperscalers, spend on building data centers and buying chips. And right now, every single signal suggests they have absolutely no plans to hit the brakes. The spending spree is set to continue, full steam ahead.
Okay, so let's pull all this together. With all this crazy spending and strategic maneuvering, what is the single most important thing to take away from all of it?
Honestly, the best way to understand this moment is to think of it as a modern-day gold rush. Right now, we are deep in the picks and shovels phase. You've got companies like NVIDIA and Google selling the essential tools. Then you've got the miners, like Anthropic and OpenAI, using those tools to dig for gold by building these powerful AI models. But the real, society-changing boomtown, that comes later. That'll be all the applications and businesses that get built on top of this foundation. We are still in the very, very early days.
And that leaves us with the big, fascinating question. The tech world is pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into building the most powerful computational foundation in human history. We know what they're building now. They're building the infrastructure. But the much more important question still remains. What exactly will get built on top of it? If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.